Hello to all of you wonderful moms out there. This is episode 60 of the Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life podcast. I'm your host, Anoki Kapasi. I'm so excited that you're tuning in to today's episode. Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads wondering about which path to take? Or maybe you're experiencing decision fatigue from the countless choices that you have to make every single day. You know what you want deep down, but your mind is scattered from all the options and indecision. So today, I'm going to talk about how my systematic approach to decision making allows you to combine soul and strategy. It's a powerful framework that combines both your intuition and logical thinking to help you make choices you'll never regret. This is what I use when clients come to me feeling torn between the status quo or going for what they really want. You'll learn how to balance both your heart and your head when making important life choices so you can finally trust yourself and feel calm and confident in your decisions. So if you're ready to learn my simple decision-making framework that honors both your intuition and your analytical mind, grab a notebook and a pen and let's dive in. Are you looking for a way to blend success and motherhood without losing sight of who you are? I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Anoki, a PhD researcher, business owner, and homeschooling mom of 2 boys. As your life coach, I help moms like you create a life you love at home and at work. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed, overscheduled, and overlooked, and want a clear roadmap to a balanced life, a meaningful career, and finally feeling like yourself again while being the awesome mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this journey to create the life you truly desire, it's time to rediscover your dreams and achieve your ambitious mom life. Before we start, I want to make sure that you tap the follow button by subscribing to the show. It'll appear on your playlist automatically every week, and you'll save yourself a lot of time instead of hunting down the episodes. Okay, now back to the show. Do you know any couples who carefully researched names for their babies before they were born? I mean, maybe this was you yourself. After all, 9 months is a long time to come up with plenty of ideas for names. When couples do research on baby names, they look for the meanings behind the names, look for ties to other family members, and maybe how the name would sound with their last name. All of this makes perfect sense, right? However, then, the moment when they meet their little one, something unexpected happens. Their carefully chosen name suddenly doesn't feel right anymore. And this emotional connection to their newborn sort of takes over and creates this shift inside of them. So then they find themselves choosing a name that's simply based just on what they feel and their intuition. On the other hand, I remember a few years ago when my husband and I were looking for a second car. Our family was growing and it was the right time. I initially had this vision and feeling about what I wanted. I knew exactly what style and what color that seemed right for our family. And I hate to admit it, a lot of this was based off of me noticing all the other moms around the town and the cars that they were driving, and I could imagine how nice it would be for our family to have one of those cars. And then we got to the dealership, and all of a sudden I found myself comparing specs and prices and lifestyle factors. It's like the logical side of my brain completely took over and eliminated any sort of neighbor envy that I might have had earlier. And so what began as an emotional choice got buried under this analytical part of my brain, and I was starting to compare features and fuel efficiency and other things like that. I think this has happened to many of us. We shift from one approach to another, and when we rely too heavily on one and ignore the other side of us, we often end up with surprise decisions or unsatisfying decisions. These experiences show us the importance of balancing our emotions and intuition with logical thinking. This balance leads to better decisions, which is especially crucial for moms since our choices go beyond simple logistics. What makes this balance tricky is that one approach often overshadows the other. Once we start looking at data and considering decisions rationally, sometimes it's hard to sort of unsee those points and then reconnect with our own instincts. And that's why it's important to have a process for checking in with ourselves. This lets us tap into our intuition first before we dive into the more analytical side of things. So whether you're naming your baby or choosing a car or deciding on a job change or making any other major life decision, both your heart and your mind deserve some attention. So now if you're finding yourself at a crossroads in your decision making with your mind so scattered from all of the choices, you're in a state of indecision, I understand how overwhelming that can feel. If you notice that you end up making decisions and then flip-flopping, or you deal with indecision and decision fatigue, you're overwhelmed by the options and you're not really happy or unsure about your final decision. Like you've made a decision, but you're not sure if you made the right one. If any of that sounds like you, it could be that you're in need of a more strategic approach. So I invite you to join me for a free exploratory call where we're going to discuss my Confident Decisions Matrix. On that call, we'll find out if my framework will help you make decisions that you can feel confident about. We'll identify what's holding you back from trusting yourself more. We'll even begin creating a simple decision-making framework that works for your unique situation. And we can even talk about whether we should develop more steps towards having more control in your life. This framework is helping my clients with creating action plans for their long-term changes while feeling calm and confident in their decisions. All of this is part of my Balanced Mom coaching program, so you can use the link in the show notes to schedule your free exploratory call today. And together we can work on helping you get a more full, peaceful life where decisions are aligned with both your intrinsic and extrinsic desires. So I'm actually going to outline 5 things that I think are really important for you to have in your decision-making framework. But I'll definitely point out the top way that I think you can avoid regret anytime you make a decision. So I'm going to start with the first thing that I think is required for any decision that you make. It's that you need to get crystal clear on the decision you're trying to address. Before you dive into all of the options or actually trying to tackle what direction to go in, you want to define exactly what you're deciding on and why it matters. Because if the decision is sitting in a very vague way in your mind and you haven't taken the time to articulate exactly what you're trying to answer, then your decision making itself is going to also be very scattered. And so when you have a precise question that you're attaching to the decision, then you'll create these very focused, defined solutions. So you might just want to write it down. You can even do it in a single sentence. It just brings enough clarity to the process before you dive really deep into all of the processing that's involved when you make your decision. So the second thing is that you should incorporate the emotional and rational aspects of your decision. So that's basically what I've been talking about so far in this episode. This is the number one way to avoid regret in your decision making. You need to tap into these 2 parts of who you are. You want to capture your emotional reaction and intuitive feelings, as well as conducting some sort of logical analysis and apply both of those to your judgment. Once you start looking at data or thinking about things rationally, sometimes you start to move away a little bit to that intuition part of you. It's a little hard to reconnect with that because now you have some shoulds or whys involved in the options that you're considering instead of relying on sort of the selection you would make on a knee-jerk split second. You know how I talk about wanting balance in your life, whether it's balance between work and personal life, or balance between growing your individuality and spending time with your family. I also had an episode about how to balance all the thoughts in your head. That was episode 36, and I'm going to link that in the show notes. Well, this is another kind of balance. You really want to balance the emotional and the rational part of you, the analytical and the creative parts of you when you are making decisions. This process allows you to create harmony between all of these different thoughts that are swirling around in your head and your heart. The third thing is that you want to make sure it aligns with your life plan. Because your life plan, as you know, serves as a powerful decision-making filter. So this is the exact point that you would want to use your life plan to help you make these big life-changing decisions, right? When you're faced with multiple choices, you're going to want to evaluate each choice of any decision against your vision, your core values, and your long-term goals. When you develop your life plan, you are going on a very deep exploration of self-discovery. And then we are converting all of that into a very intentional roadmap for your life, where you're at, where you want to go, why you want to go there, and how you're going to get there. So with things so well outlined in your life plan, if you're making a decision and a choice doesn't correlate with your life plan, then it stands to reason that it's probably not going to be the right choice for you. And so this alignment check really eliminates options that might seem logical, but don't resonate with who you truly are. This happens more than you think. I work with moms who are setting these very noble goals, but they haven't taken the time to check if those goals are actually right for them. Okay, the fourth thing is to understand the full scale of the impact on all parts of your life. You want to map sort of that ripple effect, right, that comes with each decision, and it can affect different parts of your life differently. So every significant decision is going to impact at least one part of your life, probably more than one domain. So you want to examine how each option is going to affect things like relationships, your career, your well-being, and even your own individual personal growth. This is how we can get a very comprehensive view that takes you out of any tunnel vision or any biases that you might have. And when you do this, it really reveals unexpected consequences or benefits, improvements in your life that a simple pros and cons list, which is what we often default to, would not capture. Okay, and the fifth and last thing I'm going to talk about today is that you need to create a balanced prioritization system. Now, I think it's crucial to do the prioritization after you've done all of the strategizing for the different options. But basically, you want to have some system or hierarchy of prioritizing so that you know what to tackle first. And in order to do that, you might need to have a little bit of a feasibility assessment. And so what I mean by that is basically checking in on the practical and logistical parts of each option that you're faced with in terms of your time and your energy, even resources like extra support that you might need. You want to develop a method that weighs all of these types of things so that rather than letting one voice or one element drown out everything else, you have found a balanced way to create harmony. And this is going to prevent any decision fatigue and even help you avoid regret. It is going to help you really understand if all of these options are reasonable, which one makes the most sense for you to tackle first. And that's why my Confident Decisions Matrix works so well for ambitious moms. I've basically taken some well-established decision-making frameworks and I've customized them to include the nuances of being a high-achieving mom. It is a systematic decision-making framework that combines both soul and strategy. And so with this method, you're going to be able to tap into your intuition as well as including logical analysis. I teach you how to analyze data rationally and reconnect with your gut feelings. So this isn't just about making better choices. It's about making aligned choices that feel right both emotionally inside of you as well as outside of you and logically in terms of how you proceed forward in your life. And the great part is that once you learn how to use this framework properly, you can apply it to everything from career changes to everyday family decisions. It gives you a reliable compass for navigating your life's crossroads with confidence. Today, we journeyed through the soul and strategy approach to decision making. That is the top way to make a decision without having any regret. And so I hope you're feeling more equipped to tackle all of those big life decisions that you are facing. I hope you can make those decisions with confidence. In total today, we actually talked about 5 features that your decision-making process should include. That is clarity around the decision and your choices, tapping into your intuition as well as the logical analysis, having some sort of life plan filter, seeing how your decision impacts other parts of your life, and doing a feasibility assessment. Now, my Confident Decisions Matrix includes many other features as well, but these 5 steps in today's episode are a really great place to start. So remember, whether you're parenting or choosing a career path or making a major life decision, you want to look into your heart as well as your mind and across other parts of your life. And if you're still feeling scattered from choices and indecision, know that is completely normal. The reason you feel that way is because the decision you're faced with is pretty big and affects your life in the long term. But learning to balance emotional instincts and logical thinking takes practice. It is a skill that's going to really help you, though, in so many different ways, not just decision making, to be honest. So start trusting your intuition as well as learning how to be systematic and logical with your thinking to achieve your ambitious mom life. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and tell other purpose-driven mamas about it. Who knows? You might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review on Apple Podcasts. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. I'll see you next week for another episode of Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life with Anoki Kapasi.